Item C, 10C, receiver report regarding the City of San Bruno's Green Fleet Initiative.
Good evening. I'm presenting this report tonight in response to the City Council's request for a review of staff's progress and efforts in complying with Council's direction to be a leader in green fleets. The City of San Bruno vehicles travel over 900,000 miles per year, making our fleet responsible for reducing 17% of the city's greenhouse gas emissions. Reducing these emissions has become a priority focus for the Central Garage. This slide shows emissions by department, and as one would expect, public safety, which has a 24-hour operation, is the largest source. It also shows one of the problems that we have incurred in our green fleet efforts, which is that technology changes in public safety vehicles has been slower than that of other vehicles. The flex fuel vehicles that we are now buying is a step toward the future, but it is not helping at this present time. At this time, we are using a 4-step strategy to reduce our fleet emissions. The first is a reduction in fleet size. A recently completed vehicle use study identified one truck used by public services that has been taken out of service. A van that was underused by our recreation department has now been converted to a mobile water sampling vehicle and eliminated another vehicle from our fleet. 3 more vehicles are currently being evaluated for permanent removal. The thermoplastic unit that the council recently approved for purchase is on order, and when put in service, another vehicle will be permanently removed from our fleet. The second is improved fuel efficiency and decreased emissions. We now have 2 hybrid vehicles on our fleet. One of the 2 hybrid vehicles was a perfect replacement for our vehicle needs. The other was made possible by the reassigning of vehicle use. For that vehicle, we had a vehicle that needed to be replaced for the park department that was being used for ball diamond maintenance, and an alternative fuel vehicle would not work for it. We identified a vehicle being driven by a supervisor that would. We reassigned the vehicles, and that enabled us to purchase a hybrid vehicle. This is a practice that we're continuing to use and believe will be the most effective way to bring green vehicles into our fleet in a timely manner. With our diesel vehicle and equipment replacement, staff delayed the recommendation of replacement of 3 trucks and both of our large mowers until the new, cleaner burning diesel engines were available. As stated before, the 8 flex fuel vehicles represented the first major change in technology of public service vehicles. And we're looking at new hybrid technology for future replacement of larger vehicles, such as the aerial lift trucks that are used by our cable TV and the large dump trucks that are used by public services and park departments. The third is using new alternative technologies to replace our old vehicles and equipment. We now have 3 low-speed electric vehicles in service that are used for limited purposes. We did make a commitment to participate in an electric vehicle and infrastructure demonstration program. The program was canceled because of lack of funding, but we are continuing to look at electric vehicles to fill future vehicle replacement needs. Research toward biodiesel came to a stop when we discovered that our diesel storage and dispensing facilities were not biodiesel compatible. The new above ground storage tank that should be installed by the end of this year will allow us to readdress biodiesel. We currently have 1 CNG vehicle in our fleet and technology changes have now made it possible for us to consider a CNG vehicle for our soon-to-be replaced senior bus. The fourth is the upgrading of existing equipment. This is the equipment that was installed on a vehicle after purchase, or small equipment that is used in the field. Although it is not talked about as much as hybrids, biodiesel and CNG, the equipment upgrades is one place where we've made great progress. The LED lighting that is installed on some of our vehicles eliminates the need to keep the vehicle engine running while you're at a work site or a traffic accident scene. The new water service truck that council approved and is on order has an onboard air compressor that will eliminate the need for the old towed behind unit. And the city's portable message board uses solar power to regenerate its batteries. Staff is currently looking at rechargeable portable light towers to replace the diesel units we now use. Changes to existing equipment has been done on an as-needed basis. I thank you for your time, and I will try to answer any questions.
Any questions of staff?
Chair.
Michael?
I have a few questions. Starting with the availability of alternative fuels. I know that we're waiting for that storage tank so that we can have a facility for biodiesel, but is there biodiesel available anywhere in the surrounding area where we might be able to consider purchasing it at a reasonable cost until that time?
I believe some of our local cities use it. I'm not positive, so I can't say positively. I know South City does use it. Daly City has a small amount of biodiesel being used. I believe it's available at the airport. So we could look into some sort of purchasing from another agency.
In general, though, we're able to provide our fleet the fuel at a lower cost than if we were purchasing it from even another agency, I imagine?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And as far as what do we know about the efficiency and the cost per gallon of biodiesel? I mean, if we're going to make an investment to go that way, is it really going to be cost effective, or is it really an environmental decision versus a cost effective decision?
Yeah, it's going to be both. Cost of biodiesel varies depending on supplier and depending on the percentage of biodiesel. Bringing into our fleet, we'd phase it in starting with a B5 and then moving up. So 5% biodiesel, and then you move up from there up to an acceptable B20 is the largest that anybody is running right now. Most of the cities that we surveyed are using B10, and they've stopped there, although they started at B5, some only B5. Cost range anywhere from 20 to 30% higher per gallon. So there's a substantial cost, so that would have to be weighed against the environmental.
Okay. And as far as having ethanol available for the flex fuel vehicles, the police vehicles, is that anything that's anywhere near being on the horizon?
Nothing's available in our general area. The only public ethanol station is in Berkeley. There are some private ones in San Francisco, and nothing in just the general area of San Bruno at this time. We don't have dual storage capacity, so we could not convert because only part of our fleet is ethanol compatible.
So that would require probably a whole separate storage tank.
A separate storage, probably to our advantage when it becomes available in the area to purchase it separately, I suppose. But.
And I had a question about clean diesel. The cleaner diesel vehicles, how do they differ from the dirty diesel vehicles? Is it just that they're more efficient?
Yeah, they're more efficient. They run a catalytic converter. They run filters for particulate matter. I first noticed it. We just completed a retrofit of 2 of our older diesels with the new state-mandated retrofits that clean up the diesel. Running one the other day, where normally when you stand behind a diesel truck, everybody smelt that when a bus goes by. You didn't even know the engine was running while it was operating. The emissions are extremely low. And a lot of the studies and most of the studies I've read came from the diesel industry, so you have to balance that out. But most of them show that they're polluting on a level of a CNG vehicle. So the pollution level has come down substantially, and technology is making another step forward this year, which will lower it even more.
That's great. That's great. One final thing. When you talk about the CO2 production, is that just estimated on miles driven, or is there another formula that you use to calculate?
That was a study, and we supplied the data, and it was based on old data, and miles driven was what used for our fleet.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Through the chair. I had two. One was already answered through Councilmember Salazar's question on the costs and trying to understand the ratio, and it's indicated here it'll be more costly. However, obviously it has its very positive effects for the environment, so you have to address that, Dave. But also, we're talking about staff's looking into the portable light towers to eliminate those in essence for something else. Is that because we're just trying to be more efficient? Is it because we need to replace them? They've come to their lifespan, or are we just moving ahead, but we still have sort of useful life left?
Yeah, we make it a practice not to replace anything before it's needed, so they will be replaced at a time when they're needed. There's a need for, I believe, a new one in the water division, and we're looking at it there. And so every time we look at a new purchase, we look to see what we can do to become more environmentally friendly with our purchase, and that's why we're looking at these towers. One of the things that was that if you're not running the generators to run these lights, you've cut the noise pollution also, as well as the environmental pollution. So they're rechargeable, plus you don't have, if you happen to be the person who's living next door to a crew working in the middle of the night, that's one less piece of equipment out there running. Not that that's a big savings, but I've been out at night, it's extremely loud, and anything we can do to improve, and that was one of the reasons we first started looking at it, was to make it a better things. And then when we found looking for it, we found the rechargeable ones, which is an advantage overall. They'll put out the same light, and plus they're portable, where we can, the ones now we tow in, these are portable where we can bring them in and set them up in locations that you can't normally get equipment into.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad you're looking at this in a fully comprehensive way. I mean, there's trade-offs here. So people say electric vehicles, don't pollute, but you have to plug them in at night, and that energy has to come from someplace. I know fully in Europe there's probably a good over 70% vehicles that are clean diesel, AdBlues and urea injection, and all different kinds of things to look at. So I'm glad you're looking at it in a comprehensive way, and not just quick, let's jump on something, because there are other factors that offset some of the pluses. So it's good report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.